to the chair. That was pretty, I don't know. Wow. As Member McCullough said, I've also been into actually every high school and talked to every principal in regards to climate and culture and the dean of students. I could sit here and tell you, and we've had this conversation, I actually have been on the fence regarding dean of students in the middle schools and back and forth, trying to figure out ways to maybe maneuver something. But the more I talked to people and actually called last week and spoke to some principals in middle school and things like that to get a good feel, after talking to the superintendent who said, yeah, I believe they want it, whatever, my job is to ensure that I'm following through and doing that. So I did. I actually called them and talked to them. Our middle school students right now are probably the most vulnerable student population that we have in our schools.
Which ones? I'm sorry.
Middle school.
Okay.
And they have struggled over the past few years. And after I look at what the dean of students and the climate and culture have done to our high schools, after speaking with the high school principals and teachers there, on the work that has been done and how it had improved their school, their climate, assistant principals have now been able to go into the classroom and do the supervision with the teachers that is needed to do their evaluations, do the work that's necessary for them to do, that they weren't able to do for so many years. They appreciated that. So when I look at this in our middle schools, I believe it is needed. Dean of students, we need climate and culture in there to improve the quality of life for our students. What I also am going to tell you is I know numerous climate and culture individuals who have been hired over the past year or two or whatever, and many of them are of color. And when I hear people talking about that they just roam the hall, and they hear them talk about lack of education and just a high school diploma and stuff, that actually bothers me. Because I know what individuals are in that school, I know the work that they're doing, I know the relationships that they're building with our students in the school and with the teachers and the staff. That bothers me. I find it's hard to sit here and listen to that. Again, I hear what they're saying, but I think in the long run, again, I have sat back and looked at the math. I forgot to bring them up. I looked at budget book 2021, 2022, 23, 23. I went back, I looked at administration, I looked at the numbers or whatever, and when I look at the whole totality of this, what we're talking about here, those things have been going on for years, Mr. Chairman. The previous superintendent increased her administration by over 20-something administrators from 2021 to 2023, Mr. Chairman. This has been going on for years. This is part of it. You put people in positions to improve the district, and the school committee at that time approved it. And that's what we did 2 years ago. We're trying to, again, we keep saying, we keep trying to make this district better. And you have to have a good, solid foundation in order to do so. Now, last thing, been around a long time. I'm a social worker, I work for the state. Years ago, the state went out and cut 16 area directors that ran our office, and they wanted to cut administrative positions throughout the state. What happened was we lost the leadership and the foundation on the lower end, that we didn't have that foundation and we didn't have that support, to where a year and a half later, they had to bring them back. And none of you guys recall, after a major death that had occurred up in the Fitchburg area. You need that foundation of administration in order to support the work that is going down in the classroom, from the principals to assistant principals on down the line. We fought for this foundation. We fought for this structure to improve our Worcester Public Schools. And again, it's not easy. I was actually with a few teachers last night, Mr. Chairman, and a lady who I know very well and coached her son in baseball for many years, who actually, unfortunately, got laid off. That hurts me. I understand that. But we talked about it, and it's part of the process. And again, what she said to me is she actually gets it because the school that she was in, there was 4 second-grade classrooms. The first-grade class only had a certain amount of students, and that was only going to call for only 2 teachers next year. So therefore, they didn't need 4 second-grade teachers. So unfortunately, when the administration, if you look at this book, when they have looked at their cuts, and when you look at the amount of students in each grade down the line, it was very calculated on how that was done. And I could tell you that it was done that way because I went into every school in my district, Mr. Chairman, and spoke with them. And a lot of the schools in my district that had cuts, they understood why those cuts were made in certain grades, and it was based on the amount of students that were coming up from the other grade because they no longer needed 3 teachers at that grade level. Those situations were conversations that superintendent and her team have been talking to us on how they were going to break this down and look at this whole budget overall for months, Mr. Chairman. So, again, I get it. This is tough times or whatever, but I think climate and culture has really been important. I think the dean of students have been important. I think that's been proven by speaking with our high school principals and other people involved, Mr. Chairman. And again, this is unfortunate, but I think we're going to get through this. I think we're going to be okay. And moving forward, the superintendent and her team will continue to make the right decisions. Thank you.
Thank you, Member Johnson. Member Rook, you're all set.